The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The COMELEC assures the public that the elections are still secured. This after the government's Cybercrime Center flagged that the system of poll technology provider Smartmatic has been compromised. JC Cosco with the story.
The Cybercrime Investigation and Coordinating Center or CICC believes the system of software provider Smartmatic was compromised. This was the preliminary discovery of CICC, which is an attached agency of the Department of Information and Communications Technology. During the hearing of the Joint Congressional Oversight Committee on the Automated Election System, CICC Executive Director Cesar Mancao says they have sufficient artifacts on this.
On the contractor of the COMELEC is Smartmatic. We believe that their system is compromised and that we are not also accusing them for doing it themselves. At this moment, we know that there cannot gonna be an external or internal threat actors that in play. We have identified the group that claimed, and we have sufficient artifacts at this time that we can reveal in this session.
Mancao has requested for an executive session to discuss their findings. If it was true that Smartmatic's system was compromised, the Commission on Elections assured lawmakers that the upcoming polls will still be intact as they are not giving any sensitive information to Smartmatic.
We do not provide them information. We do not provide them relevant information, but only those informations available to the public, just like the voter the project of precincts, the voting center, which is available to the public.
In the meantime, COMELEC maintained that their servers were not hacked. The CICC also believes that the alleged hacking incident was not possible. For News 5, JC Cosco, we are One News.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. As COVID-19 cases continue to decline, the government has decided to suspend the risk classification for countries by February 1. This means that the Philippines will no longer make a distinction on whether a traveler is coming from a red, yellow, or green list country. Fully vaccinated travelers just need to present a negative swab test taken within 48 hours before departure. Facility-based quarantine is also not required, but they have to self-monitor at home for symptoms for 7 days. Meanwhile, unvaccinated and partially vaccinated will still be required to stay in a government-prescribed isolation facility. Now, the government will also allow fully vaccinated foreigners from non-visa countries to enter the Philippines by February 10. But they should have a passport valid for at least 6 months, a copy of return or outbound tickets, and proof of vaccination. Now, what will be the impact of eased travel restrictions on the businesses here in our country? Let's discuss that and more. We have with us this afternoon Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship, Mr. Joey Concepcion is joining us via Zoom. Sir Joey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Risa.
Would like to get your reaction, sir, to these new protocols, considering that you've been calling onto the government to move away from certain protocols like facility quarantine.
Yes, so I'd like to thank IATF Secretary Duque and of course Secretary Galvez for approving our request. That initially we proposed to basically to bring back the quarantine to 3 days from 5 days, which was already approved prior to the Omicron entry in December. But then we had to move back to 5 days. And we also requested that if it's possible, it's best that we can really scrap the quarantine for returning residents and allow foreign tourists and businessmen to come to the Philippines. The tourism sector has been closed for the last 22 months. So I'm glad that no quarantine will be required anymore for those fully vaccinated. And a PCR test within 48 hours will be the only test that they will take prior to leaving the country towards the Philippines. So I think this is excellent news. I think many countries have adopted it as well. Thailand, many European and American countries, of course, and other countries. I'm told that Taiwan will also be doing the same. So I'm glad that the Philippines is moving on, and that's, I think, what we need. We need to revive the economy. We have spent so much to fund our vaccines, our testing kits, and all of that, and we now have to save the economy from actually COVID. So I'm extremely optimistic that 2022 will be a much better year for all of us.
We have yet to see, Sir Joey, of course, when it's implemented by February 1st, but how do you think this will impact businesses in our country, especially those micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises?
Well, the tourism sector has been basically closed for quite a long time, close to 22 months. They've, basically felt the whole brunt of these lockdowns. And I think this is excellent news. Many big businesses have invested a lot prior to this pandemic in hotels, and even our airlines. They've also invested so much. Our airlines, Philippine Airlines, filed for Chapter 11, and this is excellent news for Philippine Airlines, Cebu Pacific, and AirAsia. So the airlines will definitely be much more viable. There'll be more banking confidence from the banking community, especially that they can now refinance all of those who need refinancing. Since that there is a great hope now that the tourism sector can bounce back. And this is what we need. We have to learn to live with this, whatever virus is present, like Omicron. And I think the economy will definitely benefit our micro and small entrepreneurs, our many of them are part of the whole tourism sector, and tourism industry, from the tour guides to these hotel owners to the smaller hotels that cater to the backpackers, and the list goes it's quite long. So this tourism sector will finally boom. The countries, the different provinces which were hit by Typhoon Odette will also. This is good news for them. Boracay, Bohol, Cebu, Siargao. Of course, these areas have been hit badly, but at least now they're looking towards a bright future. Now that this sector in the tourism will definitely benefit them. So it gives them more hope, no? And that's what we need now.
Sir, we've seen, as the prolonged pandemic continues, that it brings uncertainties. Although our economy has been resilient and is growing, are you confident that we can actually sustain this economic growth?
Well, remember last year on August 8th, the private sector pushed for an early lockdown to save the fourth quarter. And we saw the results of that, no? Indeed, that Delta cases peaked and dropped very quickly. And we were able to save the fourth quarter. As a result, the GDP hit a high of 7.7%. No, that's a fantastic growth in the last quarter. No, so we were able to achieve that. Of course, our vaccination rates went up very high, and especially the NCR. So foresight really, helped that. So I'd like to thank the private sector for really pushing for that. And of course, IATF. Now, the first quarter, we see Omicron, but it's starting to taper off, and the timing is perfect to allow people to come back home. The OFWs, the balikbayans who did not come home in Christmas because there was quarantine at 5 and 7 days, so they deferred that, and many want to come home. So that is good, no? And so as we open up the economy, definitely things will be much better. And as we see other countries move in the same direction, living with COVID will be, like living with the flu. So I think we have to learn to adjust and quarantine. Basically, even down the road, I even see the opportunity that even alert levels, especially in NCR, maybe we can think about that, whether we should scrap alert levels and just make a standard rules and proper protocols for the different sectors. No? So things will change. No? The way I see it, things will change for the better.
With that being said, Sir Joey, since you mentioned the government is set to, again, release updated alert levels soon, do you think Metro Manila should be downgraded to alert level 2?
Definitely. You can see even at the height of Omicron, the hospitals did not get full. We were at about 50% capacity. So I don't think there's anything to really fear. I think we should start opening up the economy. And I think people already know how to protect themselves. No, they will wear the face mask. They will not go out if the infection level was high or is high. Remember when we were at alert level 3, there was a suggestion to move to alert level 4, and I was saying that there's no need because people are scared to go out. So people will not go out when they see there is danger. Now people will start to go out when they see that things are under control, and that's what we want to see. People know how to take care of themselves. No? And Omicron, if this continues at low numbers, this will be just like the flu. So people will quarantine themselves when they get sick. They will stay home. They will not go out, and they get better at home. So that is what we want this whole thing to evolve to. No, we have to learn how to move on, as many other countries have started to move on.
Well, thank you, sir, for always sharing with us your time and your insights. That's Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship, Mr. Joey Concepcion.
Thank you.
Now, for more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World Online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.